good morning, everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. Welcome to Coast to Coast. Of course, I am here with my guy. And how was shooting the video this morning?
Fun. Was a good time. You know, it's like you have to shoot an awful lot of tape for not a lot of what's going to be shown, but that was a lot of fun, which is why I'm not hosted today. I had to relieve it up to Bo. You know, he didn't even know if I was going to be here or not.
Yep, nope. It was a surprise. Of course, we still don't have Jay. Hopefully next week he will start feeling a little bit better. And StatGuy, who knows? Because it's StatGuy.
Right, he gets to do whatever he feels like doing, whenever he wants to do it. So.
And we do have a guest this morning. You've seen him on my morning shows, and of course on his own podcast. Help me welcome Mr. Yu.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate you.
Good morning.
And of course, he is a Giants fan, so this will make today extra fun.
Oh, what a beautiful
heart. So he's a Giants fan. Are you also a Mets fan?
Of course not, sir. Are you insane?
Oh, yeah, you're a Yankees fan.
That's correct, sir.
Right. Whatever. It don't matter. Yeah, I guess we'd have a little bit to talk about with that too, since your team's going to not make the playoffs again this year.
Oh, I think not, sir. I think we're going to be doing okay.
You think so? Even with all your pitchers hurt?
Better than the Phillies, I'm thinking, yeah.
You want to bet?
Really?
Let's come right out of the gate. I don't mind putting some money up there because I know sure as hell the Yankees aren't going to do as well as the Phillies.
My money's going to be well spent. I don't gamble, but I'm pretty confident we're going to do okay this year.
Okay, but
Cole's not going to be out all year, man.
He's going to be out for a while, I heard.
It's not. Who are you listening to? People in Philly?
No, actually, if you go on my page, you'll actually see that there's somebody who pirates in and does a Yankees show from my page. So
that's hilarious.
I'm for it.
So
pass me into that. I'm all about it. I want to see it. I need to verify.
Let me tell you, Robert, you better make sure your pizza is on the way already because there ain't no chance Seattle gets even. I have it under 82 wins with Seattle.
Ooh. Wow. Bo,
I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong.
Bo's not saying anything. I don't understand why you're not commenting on that part.
Because I think he's probably right. Sadly, my Mariners are not necessarily going to have a great season. My mom checking in.
Mom always in the house.
2 more than Philly. All right.
Wow.
No chance. No chance.
Like Philly's a good team.
Right.
So
Seattle is not.
We are not. And all things being equal, I actually had the Yankees missing the playoffs as well.
I mean, well, of course you think that.
Well, I think also
there were other teams I think are better.
I did have the Yankees in. I did have the Yankees in the playoffs.
Yeah, you did. I didn't. I didn't have a horse in the race either way. I know my team is, playing AAA ball this season.
Which is only a little bit above what the Yankees play.
Oh, how rude! You're a rude host.
So let me ask you this, there, Giants guy. How do you feel about the whole Saquon thing? What is your opinion from a Giants fan?
See you around, man. Thanks for the memories. What else can you do? I'm not one of those guys that follow favorite players. There's no real point in that. You're gonna follow the guys everywhere they go for their whole career. That's just dumb. So what I'm doing, I'm a team guy. You're on our team. Nothing but love for you. If you're on a rival team,
you're dead to me.
Two times a year, we'll try to put you down. So I mean, I'm glad for what he did, but he was not in the best spot. Me and Bo talk about it all the time. Even going back to Penn State, he wasn't the healthiest guy in the world.
Yep.
And the best ability is what? Availability, right? He was hardly ever around. So that could be better now with the new rules. He might do really good in Philly.
That's right. You can't tackle
nobody's going to touch him now because they can't tackle him.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can't tackle from behind. Awesome.
So, yeah. But
probably stay healthy.
sorry to see him go, but we got to replace him. I don't know how we're going to do that. Gray is definitely not going to be his replacement. That's just not going to happen. So we got to find it on the street somewhere. But yeah, it happens, brother.
What are your
You're welcome.
expectations?
Sir?
Hey, listen, I'm also a firm believer. I'm a realist. You know, it's just because he's got a big name doesn't mean that it's going to equate to anything on the field. So, and I'm a firm believer of that. You know, there was other problems that the Eagles had besides running back. They didn't really have a running back problem. So the fact that they spent the money there, I understand why they did it, you know, and they love messing with the Giants. They love messing with the Giants.
I don't see a reason beyond that they did this. Do you know another reason why they did it?
Well, yes, I do. I do believe there's other reasons why they did it. So Kellen Moore likes to run north-south, not east-west.
Okay.
And I feel like that when you saw any injuries that came from Saquon, it was because he was trying to get around the edge. And it seemed like he was always getting hurt out on the sidelines. Like that's where he was going. He is more, I mean, you've seen him. And so his thighs are tree trunks. His
Absolutely.
thighs are the size of both of my arms put together, kind of. You know what I mean? So, I mean, he is meant to run north and south. When you have him going wide, that's where things actually happen wrong. And I know that Kellen Moore is a north-south guy. So I think that was the reason why they did that. That they've seen, like I remember Jordan Howard, and I remember watching him go through the Giants line, carrying 4 or 5 Giants with him and gaining 7 yards every play. He was one of those guys that would do it. And Boston Scott was the other killer. He was a giant killer. Yeah, Boston Scott. You guys loved it when
shifty, man. Yeah, absolutely.
But
I always heard about you guys getting Derrick Henry, but nothing ever materialized from that. I figured that would be a perfect addition to your team based on how you guys play ball, but it just never seemed to happen. I heard Saquon, I'm like, really?
Except they don't use those kinds of running backs very well.
Well, that's
never had a running back like this before.
Well, that's the difference now. I thought they are going to have to because that's how Kellen Moore's style.
Yeah,
he doesn't do well with the finesse backs. That's why you know, Pollard wasn't that good with Dallas. And then obviously they had the same type of problem with you know, what's his face who's now on a different team. Is he on Washington?
Who's that now?
Who did it? I'm thinking from the Chargers.
Eckler?
Oh, Eckler.
Yeah. He went to Washington, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So, but again, he doesn't do well with those types of backs that are more finesse and more outside. He's a through the tackles guy. So I think that this could be a really good match. That being all said, there were other things that the Eagles needed to fix before running back. So, although he's the big name, it didn't move my needle as much.
Well, especially because he has a history of not staying healthy. Now, I think he stays healthier there because you have a better offensive line, and you're not allowed to tackle anymore, so that'll probably help. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess for being a between the tackles type of running game, you definitely have the offensive line for it.
And what do you think about that? So now because I happen to have a Giants guy right here, and the only Giants fan that I ever seem to talk to is Sneaky G. So,
Sneaky G.
Yeah. You know Sneaky G?
No, but that name is incredible.
He's a Giants fan actually, and he lives in Dallas, Texas.
God bless him.
Yeah, so he's and he goes to actually sometimes he goes to Dallas games just to troll the Cowboys. So
why not?
That's amazing.
I mean, you're already there. Winning in Rome.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
I'm not mad at it.
What do you feel about Daniel Jones? How do you feel about your quarterback?
Joe Bo's gonna love this because we've been doing this tango for quite a while now.
Right. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, from the very beginning, I'm talking about as far as the draft.
He's excited. He's excited about Locke.
We had the 6th pick. We needed a whole bunch of stuff that year.
Mm-hmm.
I was not looking for somebody to come out of Duke and get picked at 6. I didn't see that one coming. I'm like, I heard the rumblings, but I said, we're not going to do that, are we? I know why powers that be did that, because they thought they had a Eli part 2. They thought they had the resurgence of Eli. Some differences there. More mobile than Eli, definitely. Accuracy-wise, I think Eli got him in that area. Decision-making wise, Eli has them there as well. And I think some toughness as well. So I didn't see the comparison that they saw, but they picked them. And it is what it is. Guys on a rookie deal, see what he got. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. But to give him another big deal, that was flat out stupid. And now we're sitting here but at the same time, even though it was dumb, the Giants they're almost complicit because they knew that this could potentially happen. That's why they gave him the kind of deal that they gave him, where after that second year, they gave him a back door to get out of this, which they're most definitely going to use. So you're talking about saving potentially $25 to $35 million if you get rid of him. I think post June 1st. I always get it mixed up, either post or pre June 1st. Forgive me for getting it wrong, but one of those two. And they saved that amount of money by letting him go, which I think they're going to actually do. He's coming off an ACL injury, may not even be ready for the first game, but you got to move forward. So that's why I'm anticipating we're going to get a quarterback in the draft. But for me, I'm like, I saw everybody's talking about Daniel Jones. Give him a chance. The O-line wasn't good. Eli's O-line was ranked 30 and 31st. Most of the time he was there. And they won 2 rings.
I disagree with a lot of things.
They had more than 10 wins a good chunk of those years that he was there. So I don't want nothing about the O-line. That's not an excuse, what we've been seeing. Then I watched some more tape. Well, as much as I can watch tape, I watched some plays where people talked about how his interceptions and what he threw. And I watched things that he shouldn't have. No quarterback in his right mind worth his salt would have done what Daniel Jones did. Pocket is clean. There's no problem. The O-line been getting kicked all season long. We've been hearing about it in our ears for almost the entire season. Worst O-line, et cetera, et cetera. O-line had him covered, clean. Pocket was great. What did DJ do? Left the pocket. Left the safety that was there for him and tried to make a play with his legs and got smashed. I've seen that more times than I can count. So it's like, it's not those kind of things. You can't teach that part. So it's like, if you don't have those kind of intangibles, how do you go forward and do anything? I don't trust him. After seeing that, I don't trust him to be there. So I'm like, I gotta have somebody else. Out of the draft, it's a hard question for me. I don't know who I want out of that. We talked about it on other shows. I have no idea.
Look at Drew Lock getting the start.
I thought about picks. I thought about a whole bunch of scenarios. I thought about McCarthy, but I don't see DJ being there. I don't think it's a good idea for us going forward. Time to move on there.
Well, I tell you, the only thing that I ever thought Danny Dimes would have been any good at would have been playing Eli Manning in the Peyton Manning life story movie. That's he looked like him. He looked like him.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things I disagree with about Eli, but except his durability. Like, no one can dispute his durability. That dude got lit up a lot and kept coming out.
He didn't, though. The one thing Eli was very, very good at, maybe the best in all of the NFL, was knowing when to go down and fight another day.
Yeah, he wouldn't take the big hit, sure.
He never took a big hit. He never did any. He went down early and just saved himself. All of the hits. So if he ever did get a big hit, he could bounce right back up because it was never really crushed him. They never really crushed him like that. You know?
No, I just meant that he got hit. I just meant that he got hit a lot, not necessarily that he took the big hit. Because that is
I'm saying that he got sacked a lot. He got sacked a lot, but he didn't really. A lot of those sacks, he was already on a knee, just about.
Yeah.
So
I think the biggest hits I can recall, and of course I've been watching this from the very beginning. The biggest hits I've seen were later on in his career. In those last couple of years, that's what I said he would take big hits, like getting smashed. I'm like, is he going to get up? I don't recall that in his heyday whatsoever.
He didn't have his ability to be quite as elusive as he did when he was younger.
Sure.
Not that he was like an incredible athlete by any means, but he could move just enough to avoid the big hit.
I've seen some miraculous moving from him, so I think him for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there were moments for sure.
No complaints here. Was that comment for me?
Which one? Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Well, it's not my money, so I can't speak. But if you're asking me or suggesting that for me, oh, Chris, I don't think so, sir. I'm sorry. That's a horrible idea. I can think of 5 places he can go instead of here. New
There
York
you go. You'll like this one.
See, Robbie gets it. You can talk all you want to, but let's talk about these right here. Thank you, sir. Robert is. You guys got some smart guys on your guys' team, man. These guys are smart, man. They get it.
But they haven't done much of anything since that Super Bowl.
It's been like 9 years, man.
That Super Bowl.
You know why though? But why though? I'm sure it's in you. It's inside of you to kick us while we're down. But why?
Listen. I'll be 100% honest. I always looked at the Giants. First off, I always feel that our season, the Eagles' season, doesn't begin until we play the Giants. It sucked last year playing them so late. Every year before this, if you go back the previous years and you think about when the Eagles have started their run in 2017, it was the field goal against the Giants that started that run. That was the first game of the 13-game winning streak. And going to the Super Bowl. The year after that, we played the Giants later in the season. The moment we played the Giants, we won every game after that and made it to the playoffs. The year after that, a similar situation occurred. The year after that was COVID, and you guys cried because you didn't win you didn't we lost that game to the Redskins or the Washington Commanders, and you guys were all upset that we threw that game or whatever. Yeah, I know. You're going to say no, it wasn't me, but yeah, you're 6-10.
It wasn't me because I don't care about stuff like that. I mean, you guys are 94-89 against us. I mean, okay.
No, hey, listen, and that's because you guys won so many games back in the 30s.
Oh man,
you know that, though. You know that. That's a true statement. You guys have won. I mean, let's be for real. Since your birth, and you look like you're a young guy. I figure you're about 28 to 30. Older. You've seen 4 Super Bowls, or you've been alive for 4 Super Bowls.
I've seen them.
You've seen them. So you're about 41, 42. Are you? You're my age, 51. Oh, damn. You see, now that I appreciate that because I'm 51 years old. I thought that you were younger than me. So.
Respect your elders.
That being said, since since the 80s, even the years that you guys won the Super Bowls, we swept you those years. I mean, it don't matter. It don't matter because you won a Super Bowl. We didn't. Yeah. But
okay. Let's get past the rivalry just for a second. If I don't know how fast you guys are moving on to other topics. You want to hang out here for a little bit?
Oh,
we're here. We're here.
I'm used to us moving along and hitting spots because we got like an hour and a half. But
no. We got
2 hours. We could talk 2 hours of this stack. We could go back and forth.
I love this show. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, we don't have a scripted show here. Like this is because it's a 2-hour daily show. I mean, news happens in real time. Right?
Nothing that you and I do is scripted, bro.
No. But what I mean is we don't even have an outline necessarily because we're finding news in real time most of the time.
Copy that. Okay. So, Philly, I'm talking to you right now, brother. This is the season. All the fandom aside for a second, why do you think the last 9 or 10 years looked the way it did? I mean, be honest now. Don't tell me 5 things and run us down. What's the one reason why you think this is happening? Or why you think it has happened up to this point? It never crossed your mind. You never even
Poor
thought about it.
ownership, poor coaching.
Thank you. Got nothing to do with the on the field product. They got teams out there that got less talent than we did in the past 8 or 9 years, excluding the past 3 years of O-line. Them boys was, I don't know what they were. They wasn't even fit for the CFL. Some of them guys. Seriously. They really weren't. No, all jokes aside, they really weren't. Besides that, we had as much talent as anybody out there on both sides of the ball for the past, I'd say 8. I wouldn't even say the last 2 years because the O-line was rough. Before we got John Michaels and Andrew Thomas and some other guys. It was really bad. It's all everything was happening off the field is what was killing us. With Gettleman and his money management practices, what he brought to the table with that thing with Eli, that stuff, man, it's like a knife in people's hearts, man. Because like you said, he's known for his durability. He's known for being an Iron Man out there, and he's breaking records in that regard. And out of spite, you pull him. I mean, and then the other moves you made that were like, what is he doing? He's known for that now. That took years off of our life with Tom Coughlin and how they did him with that one. I know he kind of evolved out of his.
I loved watching Tom Coughlin face get as red as my hat, like all the time.
Because he cared about football, man.
He did.
Because he cared about what he was. He cared about what he was doing. Unlike the people who were over him, he cared about what he was doing, and it mattered to him how they played on the field. And he kicked tail when it was necessary.
I will never forget. I was at the draft when they picked Daniel Jones, and I remember I just had finished an interview with a Giants fan, and we talked, and like I was literally like a man on the scene, face painted, microphone, and interviewed a Giants fan. I had to go back and interview him again after they picked Daniel Jones because it was that. I'm like, so now that you guys have pick 6 Daniel Jones, and that's how I've called him ever since, pick 6 Daniel Jones. He hasn't thrown as many interceptions as I would have liked him to for him to really earn that name. But he's not one of those guys that slings it. He's more of tentative with the ball. But but I think who was the coach? Who was the coach that crying and stuff like that when we pulled our starting quarterback and we went to our backup quarterback and lost that game to Washington, and he cried about it. He cried. And then the next year went 6-10 again. Actually, no, it was worth 5-12 because it was the first year of 17 games.
You talking about Judge?
Judge. He was a little wuss. Always worried about what other teams were doing. Always talking about the other teams. Never really worried about. Always another problem. Somebody else's problem.
Like I said, this is all fruit from the poisonous tree. All these decisions is all coming from the sidelines or upstairs, and it's like it took a decade off what we could potentially have become.
Yeah, but
I hate him for it.
But now you had a coach that was able to get you over the hump and bring you to the playoffs 2 years ago. You know what I mean? And say what you want. He changed the mantra a little bit where you were able to pull out some of those wins that might have been losses in the last few minutes of the games, stuff like that. And actually you win a playoff game against the Vikings team who you had seen a couple of weeks earlier, and you knew that I knew you guys were going to beat them. And then, of course, you ran into the buzzsaw that they will call the Eagles in the playoffs. But, ultimately, you have that year, lots of promise. Second year with your starting offensive lineman. That lineman that you chose, you had those 2 picks back to back, just about number 2 and number 6, I think it was. And I said that I'm like, you guys need to pick a quarterback now. You should pick the quarterback now instead of going for whoever your lineman is. It's who's that lineman that you chose, number 6 spot?
Talking about Andrew Thomas.
The offensive lineman.
Thomas, he's our LT. Talking about him?
No, I thought it. I thought it
We
was
didn't, we
somebody
didn't, we
else.
didn't, we didn't, we didn't pick
Deal's his name.
who?
Deal, DAL or DAHL.
Talking about
here
David Deal?
Huh?
David, that was years ago. David Deal?
No,
Who's
he's
the
an offensive guard. He's on the team right now. He's a starting offensive guard or offensive
You're
tackle.
talking about Ryan Neal from Bama.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyways,
I don't think we got him in 6 though, but I
Hey,
check it out.
I like where Rob's at right here. He's high, but I like where he's at.
yeah, he's definitely smoking too much of the ganja today.
But
That being said, you have that promise going into last year, and then to have the year that you had last year.
yeah,
What are your thoughts?
okay. In regards to that, and we discussed this multiple times, both probably tired of hearing it.
Oh no, it's entertaining every time.
I thought we were friends, man. Come on, stop it. But, okay, so that's one of those situations where you got a mortal head wound, you put a band-aid on it, and you decide to take the band-aid off for that 1 year, and then the bleeding gets to be too much, and put the band-aid back on again. That's what happened in this situation right here. We shouldn't got to the point in the season that we did. It's good if you want to temporarily stop the bleeding. That's why I made the analogy, but it's not good for us long term because you gave everybody the impression that we were better than we actually were, and then that prompted us for some strange, inexplicable reason to give Daniel Jones some more money that there was no point of that to say, you know what, you earned that, you deserve that, and we gave more money and it prolonged the cap situation that we're in right now. I would rather them, even though I don't like the idea of 9 or 10 years of ineffectiveness and not being in the playoffs and not being able to contend for the East, even though I hate that, I would rather have another year of that than what actually happened. Because although it felt good to see us in the playoffs and potentially getting close to doing something, it was kind of like fool's gold. It wasn't really real. You know, we weren't prepared for that moment. We weren't prepared for those kind of bright lights. We didn't have the personnel for that. And then we had disarray when it comes to the coaching part too, with the whole who's calling plays stuff. All that stuff played a part in this. And it was like,
you know, that I always have a hard time with that because I would rather be a team that can routinely get into the playoffs than one that's mostly irrelevant. Because, you know, Eli even proved this. Like you got to win 4 games. You just got to get your hat in the ring. You don't necessarily have to have the best year ever, but if you get in, you can win. So I at least want that opportunity. It's always rough when you are consistently on the outside looking in. And as a Hawks fan, I've got to experience both sides of this. So like we've had some really rough years and, you know, and some good ones. So, I mean, of the two scenarios, even though when you look at, you know, the last 5-6 years where they would get into the playoffs, but they would mostly be one and done, right? Or they might win a game and be out. I would still take that over, you know, some of those 4-win seasons, 6-win seasons that we've had.
yeah, I didn't think it was good for us overall. Because it kind of gave us a false sense of security. And like Philly said, we ran into the Eagles and they were more aptly prepared for that. I mean, they just had
That's why you signed Drew Lock.
Whoa, man. I don't even know why we even did that.
No. This right here on the screen because the Seahawks beat the Eagles with Lock.
I guess it's better than DeVito, and I said that on the record, so it's on YouTube. It's all over. You can see it, and it's not Pew because Pew was years ago. We're talking about a starting right guard, brother.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure.
I'm pretty sure about Evan Neal
and who else? Evan Neal.
Yeah, from Bama, but I don't think he went 6th. I think we drafted him somewhere else.
7th. He was the number 7 pick.
He was the 7th pick. Correct. Yeah.
To answer your question,
I love
Rob,
Bellinger.
I was never a Russ fan. You can go back to anything I've ever posted. I'm not a huge Russ guy. I was a defensive player, so I actually just don't really fangirl over quarterbacks. I don't care that much. But I was never a huge Russ fan. But I did prefer, making it to the playoffs consistently. So, I mean, if you want to say that satisfied with Russ, then I guess I'm satisfied with a team that gets its hat in the ring, right? That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily care who's under center. I just want to have a shot.
No, I'm with you on that. Y'all had a good run, though.
Yeah.
Y'all were at the place people talk about dynasty. They were having those kind of conversations. So
Yeah, I think
I
think had they won that second ring,
win the ball, baby. That's all.
it would have been that era of Seahawk football would have been viewed very differently. So there is that. What's happening, Chad? Thanks for popping in.
So now you expect that there to be a big turnaround this year?
Who are you talking to?
Mister?
You're talking about as far as the Giants?
Yeah.
When you're at rock bottom, a turnaround is not hard. Just make a left. So that's kind of where we are right now. I think that we getting the quarterback in there, made jokes about the Drew Lock thing, but these guys are just placeholders. Let's be honest. I think DJ's a placeholder as well. There's no long-term contract. I don't care what he does this year. He can go off. I just don't see it happening. So all it be was a trade stock if he does go off. That's all it's going to be. So these guys are just placeholders. Bring somebody else in that's going to be established. And I would say Dayball and Shine's guy. I think that's going to be an improvement there. As far as the O-line goes, just something they've been doing pretty good. I like what he brought in Jermaine. I can't pronounce his last name yet, so forgive me. But I love that they brought him in there. I would like to see Neil go to guard. Not where he is right now. On the right side. I think he's better suited. That he's not a tackle. That's been bearing out. It's pretty clear. It's not what he does. So get him at a guard. I think we can use some of his talents. We got a buddy that jumps on with us that's from Bama, and he used to love Neil, and he kind of agrees and concurs with that. The biggest thing is at the quarterback position, because we got a lot of guys that got breakaway speed. They got talent. We may even get one in the draft in the first round potentially. But somebody got to throw these guys the ball. I'm be honest with you, nobody's co-signing on this, but I don't care. I'm talking about the whole world. Everybody that's listening, I don't care if you believe me or not. I'm gonna tell you what I honestly believe. I watched every single game of the Giants last year. Now, everything I said about the year before, recall that. Get a snapshot. Don't forget what I just said. That everything I said. Even this year, we actually had 11 games in the pocket this year. You can say who we played. You can say whatever you want. We had 11 games at least. And I mean that with all my heart and soul. No bias, no hyperbole, nothing. We had 11 games in the pocket this year, and we crapped them out.
But what happens when you're walking around New York and your wallet is hanging out of your pocket? You get pickpocketed.
You ain't got to tell me. Yep. I think that happens everywhere, but it's not a New York thing. But okay, acceptable. No worries. But I mean, honestly, that's what it was. We were right there. In matter of fact, I think there's a stat out there that talk about the margin of victory. I know Dallas, they destroyed us, blew us out. But beside that game, I think most of the games were 3 points, 5 points at most of any losses that we had. We were right there in the pocket for most of the season. Couldn't finish. And a lot of it was because the quarterback couldn't get the ball to anybody down the field, things of that nature. It was really that. There were times even at the running back situation, I'm like, wow, what's happening? Saquon couldn't even get out in space, or we wouldn't use him in that way consistently enough. It was just a whole bunch of different, it was just a comedy of errors. So I'm not saying we should have won 11 games or 12 games, but man, I feel like we have to be going up to answer your question. We got to go up from here. There's no other option. There's nothing else left, man. We did the bottom already. We've been down there. We got a rental space down there. Nothing for us to do, man. We got to go up. But up to you might be different than up to me. You know. So if you ask me that, that's a different topic. But yeah, we definitely going to go up from where we are right now, without question.
Well, yeah, because if you go down, it really does suck. If you wind up worse than Washington, that's your own fault.
Bite
that'd
your
be rough.
tongue, sir. Bite your tongue, sir. I don't think so. They're gonna stay in that cellar. They're not passing us.
Yeah,
They're gonna stay
well,
right in that cellar.
I mean, the odds are low for this year anyway. There are too many moving parts on that team.
oh, part of Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, Washington's going to be bottom of the barrel, but
Hate the
like I
Eckler
said,
win. I like Eckler a lot.
last year I thought the Giants were going to take another step up. I actually had them being ahead of the Cowboys.
We had a we had a Super Bowl show that we did a preview show, and I saw everything I said. I saw it, at least on paper anyway. I said these guys can win 10, 11 games. It's out there somewhere in the YouTube stratosphere. It's recorded. And I thought that too. I said, you know what? I think I had the Eagles winning the division, and I had us in second place.
Right.
I actually had the Giants in the playoffs. They're both in the playoffs, but I had us above them in the division.
I think I had you guys at 10-7.
I think I did something similar to that. I'm like, it did not happen.
Yeah, and I thought that there would be an implosion from the Cowboys last year. I am a little bit off. Like I said, it's going to happen this year now. I'm still standing behind that the implosion is absolutely occurring, and it's going to occur this year now because realistically, I didn't take into consideration the fact that the schedules actually worked out really well for both the Eagles and the Cowboys last year. So, I mean, the Cowboys lost a couple of games early, but, they won those games, and winning cures a lot of things, but they were nowhere near as good as they were supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like that was the thing. And the implosion, that Green Bay loss is that's the beginning of the end. That was the beginning of the end.
What are you talking about? It doesn't matter who they get rid of. We got Dak. It's the best soundbite Jerry Jones has right now. We got Dak. Whatever that means.
See,
and the long snapper to snap to him.
Well, I mean, they're going to need it.
We discussed it this morning too. It's just this is the part I want to. I can't even get the words out. Sometimes I'm like, I can't understand. If I say, you know what, let's go ahead and pick out the talent that's on the Cowboys. I'm talking about the guys that are really, really talented. We be sitting here with a list of at least 13 people that are just super talented on the Cowboys every single year. We thought Bland was going to be the Super Bowl MVP. Listen to people talk. He was just making a play every week. They were just loving this. And what happened? Dak was the sixth best quarterback in the entire league.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. The sixth best statistically. What happened? It's like it's crazy. It doesn't matter who you put in there. We talked about it many times. Bo's heard it. All the guys, we've discussed it. It's the culture.
And it's January football for the Cowboys. They just.
Wouldn't you agree it's culture though? Wouldn't you agree that it's a culture problem?
Oh no, there's certainly a culture problem.
People putting talent inside here and it's not working. What did that tell you? It's not the talent. Something else would be wrong, right?
No. Their rosters have been loaded. Like their rosters have been set up in a way to win.
Jerry Jones is excellent. He's good at one thing in my mind. I don't know if he's good at anything else. I know he can make money. He's good at drafting.
He can certainly make money. He does fairly decent drafting. Rob's right. I wish McLovin was here for this because this would be hilarious. But
he does good. He's very good at drafting. But I'm giving props. It's hard for me. It pains. I got a pain in my stomach even by saying it. But he's really good at drafting, man.
It's funny. Like he should be their draft consultant because he does get talent in the room. But then he needs to pound sand on another continent so that he can't meddle with the team. Because as soon as he starts doing that, the thing falls apart. But his ability to get talent in the room has been exceedingly good. I mean, anytime you've looked at the Cowboys roster, you've looked at the Cowboys roster for years, and on paper, you're like, that team should win a lot of games. They should win many meaningful games. And instead, they are decent in the regular season, about 50-50 on Thanksgiving, and then really just bad after that.
And the same pattern happens every time with different players. What does that tell you?
No, that is culture and management.
You're doing the same thing over and over again, and the results not changing. What does that tell you? The thing you're not addressing is what needs to change. That's what that means. And it's about, like you said, the management, and we know who we're talking about. They swap coaches out. They went from Garrett to McDonald, they swapping guys out. Kelly had a little taste. You're swapping it out. And it's like, it's not fixing anything. The only common denominator that's left that isn't touched yet is who? Until they fix that, this is their life right here. Enjoy it. I know I am.
Well, especially because they're going to have a meltdown this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they are.
Oh, I'm getting my Twitter feed timeline ready for this.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because I mean, it's going to be the standard. We them boys, we're going to the Super Bowl. The same old tired 30-year-old thing happening. But I mean, they just keep losing talent. And again, I know Jerry Jones is like, oh, it doesn't matter. We still got Dak, except they're not giving him the extension, right?
I don't see it coming either.
No, and
so we got Dak is not a great t-shirt to make right now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not having any value in a few months.
They actually look fairly content with the potential of having to pay him next year for him to not be on the team.
Oh boy!
I mean, it's not going to be Russ money, that $85 million to just go play anywhere else, but it would be 40. It would be $40 million to let him go.
Brutal. But go for it. We're having fun.
Now, especially after Denver did that, though, they're gonna absolutely do it. They're saying how Denver is eating this, and they're saying, "Yep, that's what we got to do."
It does look like it. It looks like after this season, for all intents and purposes, they're going to blow this thing up because McCarthy will be out of there. Dak sure doesn't look like he's going to get. It doesn't look like he's going to get his extension. So if that's the case, they also have quite a few other guys that are at the end of their contracts. So you would have to think that they're probably this is that year, and then it's going to be some level of rebuild, whether it's a full blow it up or whatever. But you're going to be looking at a new head coach and probably a new quarterback, and really a lot of new other pieces. It does sound like they're kicking the tires on bringing Zeke back, so they must really not be interested in doing this all in that they keep talking about.
You serious?
Yeah.
What did you just say?
Cowboys are kicking the tires on bringing Zeke back because he's still a free agent.
What?
Well, I mean, you can
get him cheap.
Minimum. He'd be cheap.
Real cheap. And where else does he really belong? He doesn't belong anywhere else. He should be in Dallas. The picture of him and Dak in their sports bras and panties,
right,
is really a great picture.
Oh boy!
Trying to get McLovin to pop in the comments here.
Got him. So, anyways, real quick, just because we read real time on the news, and this came out yesterday. It's a sex offender was fired by the Jaguars. He worked for the Jaguars and got fired.
Okay.
He hacked into the Jumbotron, I guess during a game or whatever.
Okay.
He got 220 years in prison.
Whoa, what? 220?
A convicted, I'm just going to go sex offender. I'm not going to, has been sentenced to 220 years in federal prison for producing child material and hacking the Jumbotron at the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium after the team learned he was registered offender and fired him.
Oh, so he hacked in and put that stuff on the big screen in front of everybody? Ooh, wow.
That would have deserved it, absolutely. But
I mean, that's how that reads.
I didn't hear about that at all.
Me either. That
Sending
is
unauthorized damaging commands to a protected
it's funny. Thompson was arrested in early 2020 after being deported by the Philippines back to the U.S.
Wow.
Now, you usually hear about deportations happening the other way.
Yeah.
So some of the Jags didn't do their due diligence here. Sounds like
Yeah, well,
they didn't do a full background check.
there was a 14-year-old boy. I'm not going into the details of any of this stuff, but I'm trying to figure out like where the.
So P. Diddy and Jay-Z are going to be his roommate?
Oh, come on.
I say, and they're on the run too, aren't they?
Yeah, literally.
Oh,
it seems like they would have landed their plane in somewhere that doesn't have extradition, though. Like if you're gonna run,
wow.
I feel like there's just some planning you got to do.
When you start hearing stuff like words like honeypot, this is not good.
Right? All bad.
Those names always, those kind of words, especially that one, always come with some time. Because we talking about federal,
yep,
we're talking about computer and access, and servers and internet protocol and FBI. This man is done.
Yeah, they're getting a different pair of shiny bracelets.
This man, okay. This man is done.
Yeah, it's funny because they have that, and then right after that, they have the next is Giants Dable looking into assuming play calling duties.
Sadly, you think there's a connection there, huh? There's no connection to that. It's like
they went from stuck to blow.
Oh man, I tell you what though, I had to go back and look at what games it was, but the game that we thought he was making doing play calls were exponentially better than it was before he was. I know Kafka kept his job, and I guess he's not going anywhere now. Nobody's taking him off of us. We didn't get permission for anybody to take him, so I guess he's going to stay there. But the two games I can recall where we had a question about whether he was play calling or not, but we all knew he was. Everybody with eyes knew that he was. Those games were done very well. The running game, the play action, it was done very, very well. So if he's going to go ahead and do that, I'm more than happy to give him a shot because it can't be worse than what we saw.
Well, he called the last game, right?
I don't know.
Against the Eagles?
According to him, he hasn't called any games last year.
Yeah.
He's saying it's all Kafka, but I don't buy that. I don't buy it at all, but I don't know if he did that. You tell me. I have no idea though.
I don't know either. But
so on the news front, Georgia's running back has an impending suspension after DUI arrest, and this, for whatever reason, this ends up having to come up, whether it's college or pro. The DUI thing seems ridiculous. All of these are high profile enough, either schools or it's the NFL. Like they got people they can call. Like we've talked about on the show before, they have their own internal number if they get themselves in a tight spot. So the fact that this keeps being a thing, I mean, just get one of the breathalyzers off of Amazon. They're $30, right? Like if you're going to go get a drink, just make sure that you're safe to drive. Like don't derail your career over something that, Ubers aren't that expensive. So, I mean, when you look at a DUI costing you $25,000 plus and potentially, derailing your career, I'm going to go with that, $50 to $80 Uber is probably not a bad way to go.
Especially since you got an NIL deal.
Exactly. Like none of this makes sense. And again, like I have one of those in my car just because, if I go get a beer with my friends, I want to make sure that I'm not going to get a DWI. It's $30 to save you 25 grand. Like it just doesn't make sense to not do it.
So tell me how this works, because I don't know about this part. This question is purely innocent and
Sure.
out of my ignorance. I don't know the answer to this question. But when it comes to these college guys, especially the ones that are of somewhat of a high profile, do they have, I don't want to use the word handlers, but I don't know another word to use instead. Do they have people, not even security guard, do they have anybody with them that's kind of not really watchdogging, but being there for them if they get in a pinch, get them out of some bad situations?
So let me ask you this question, because I'm going to give you an answer. I can't answer for colleges, but I can answer for the Eagles. Do you have that person on the Giants? Is there a guy in the organization? And our guy just got a lot of public profile last year because of the 49ers game.
Okay.
Dom. Everybody knows Dom now, but nobody knew Dom before. Okay. And Dom was the guy you called. Yep. You're drunk somewhere and you need a ride, you call Dom. You're in a situation that you don't know how to get out of, you call Dom. You killed somebody and you got to go figure out where to bury the body. You call Dom. You know what I mean? Dom was that guy across the board. He was the reason why nothing ever got out on the Eagles. And you never hear, there was one guy over the last 4 or 5 years got arrested for a DUI or something and was carrying, and he was the 51st person on the roster, or something like that. He might have been on the practice squad, and they dropped him the very next day. Listen, you got one job to do. You're in a sticky situation of any type. You call Dom. Yep. And that's it. Dom solves problems. That's what Dom does. Yeah. Don't worry. Here's what you're going to do. Dom's he's like the wolf. And you know what I mean? He's solving problems. He's like, it takes me 45 minutes to get there. I'll be there in 18. You know what I mean? And he's that guy. He's the fixer. He's exactly. So there's got to be somebody in the Giants that is that person.
I know somebody, and it's only because I looked this up. His name's not in the news. There's a guy named Jerry Mead. He's in the organization. He's the head. He's the director of security. Not the same as the head. Well, I guess head and director are the same thing. So I guess he serves in the same role as a Dom does. It just feels different to me because of what I know about Dom now. It feels like he doesn't seem to be the corporate type. So I don't know whether he's. Well, I know Dom probably gets around like.
And listen, there's got to be somebody. There's always somebody, and every NFL organization should have this. Every NFL organization should have.
And let's be honest, college sports are big enough at this point. They got that guy too.
Right. In fact, they should probably have two guys because they really have 100 players on that roster.
No doubt. No doubt.
And really, so you really should have 4 because 1 for 25. Each person gets 25.
Yeah.
The ETN just ignore the fact that they have a guy that can help them out.
Well, and I think that's what happens in the NFL as well. They're just being dumb. They forget that they have a fixer on the team, and they end up showing up on video doing something stupid in Vegas, or getting nailed for a DWI, or like has happened here with Richard Sherman. He ends up losing his mind all over the place and gets caught on a bunch of cameras. So I mean, there's scenarios.
You need to have that guy. You need to have that person.
That's my question. Where was Jerry when Pascal was at the bar? With a 9mm on, wearing sweatpants. Where was Jerry when that was happening?
Yeah.
That could have been another Super Bowl.
Could have been.
Yeah.
What else could have been a Super Bowl? OBJ on the boat.
I don't know.
You remember that? The OBJ on the boat?
I do, but I don't know.
You ain't been to the playoffs since that picture.
I know.
Well,
but
that's not true. You went 2 years ago, but
I never called it that a potential Super Bowl year. I didn't know that. So I don't think I ever said that. That year when Plexico shot himself in the sweatpants, I was thinking that was a repeat Super Bowl year. I believed it with everything inside of me. When that happened, like, oh, that's a wrap. With the boat thing, hated the idea that you guys even took that picture. Why? Why you on vacation? You just no work yet.
Right.
I didn't like that. But that's separate. Robert told me
Hey,
shot
I
his-
get it.
yeah,
100%. But yes, so all of these teams, really every sports organization should have that person.
I agree.
You know they
Because
do.
that listen,
There's
this
too much
sports is
money.
big freaking business.
Exactly. There's too much money involved in this. You know for a fact they exist. I mean, the only time that these come out is because they get caught in real time, right? Like we had one of our players here that was, drunk driving, rolled his car like into a light pole. You ain't covering that one up. Like cops are showing up to that, So
Right.
those are the things that,
Once you got into the accident, it's already too late.
yes.
That's the problem.
Once you got in the car as the driver, it was already too late.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really where it comes.
It was over right then. I don't care if you're going 2 feet away. When you turn the ignition on, and you drive, I don't care if you had 3 beers way earlier. Come on, man. You think we all stupid or something?
Yeah.
You done. It don't matter what happened. You done.
Yeah. Well, and that's
the
the thing. That's why I say.
You ain't even got to hit nothing. You ain't got to hit nothing. You ain't got to speed. They pull you over and you're under the influence. You done, bro.
It's a wrap. No, and that's literally why I have one of the little testers in my truck. Because if I go get a beer with a friend, I can check.
You like to drink. I get that. Okay.
No, what I'm saying is it's a smart thing to do because if you're close, then be smart about it.
Yeah, that's why I live at the bar.
Yeah, true.
Literally.
Yeah, he lives above it.
I live above the bar, so I don't have to drive. Because even driving down the street, I mean, listen, I'm not an angel. You know what I mean? There were times I probably should have called Uber.
No doubt.
And by the love of God, nothing happened.
Yeah.
That I really was in automatic mode.
Yeah.
Where I literally, because it was literally, I drove right down the street, I make a left and I make a right, make another right, and I'm home. Like it's that simple. But even still, even in that small space,
sure, you probably
the worst things in the world could happen. Can you imagine the Philly sports guy, PSG gets DUI?
Exactly.
Me going. It'll go on forever.
Yep.
Yeah, with the miserable look on my face. It won't be just at a football game. It'll be.
That's right. The orange won't only be on the face.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is it's like you can do stuff like that. You can call Uber, right? I mean, again, even the most expensive Uber, say you go Uber Black and it's a long ways and it's going to be $120. Still better than a DWI. It's still better than hitting somebody, hurting people. Like it's derailing a career that potentially is worth millions of dollars. Like all of these, like there's no upside, right? Your only upside is you made it home. That would be like being, a number 1 overall pick and then going to your pro day. The only thing that can happen is drop your stock. Well, if you're out drinking, the only thing that can happen is something you can easily do with an Uber or calling somebody to give you a ride. Everything after that is worse.
Right.
I'm just, it could just be me not understanding this life, but I feel like I'm missing something in all of this stuff. If you got that guy that's the so-called fixer, and he's in the organization, I'm sure that you met him at some point or another. I'm sure he was introducing you during your orientation or whatever, at some point in time in a team meeting. So you know who he is. It feels like you purposely avoided having him with you when you knew what you were going to do. That's what it feels like. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, it should just be
a whole, huh?
It should just
Am I right
be
on that?
your phone. It should be a one-touch dial.
Yeah, I know.
Bam.
But you didn't call him. He could have been there to protect you. I don't know how far they go when they're in your presence. I don't know if they try to I don't know, they take the drink out of your hand, or they say, "Hey man, that's too many." I don't know what their role
No,
is.
no, no, no,
Oh,
no,
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 it would
no,
be
no.
after the
No,
fact.
you're your own grown up. You're
Yeah,
your
But
own
they drive
grown
you
up.
home.
You
But they
get
drive you home.
wasted. You get wasted such to the point where you can say, "Madam, pick me up." Guess what? He's coming to pick you up. There is no judgment
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the fact that you got annihilatedly wasted.
Yeah,
I'm
nobody
with you.
cares.
I'm with you. I'm just saying
Because
that
worst case scenario is like if it happens way too often, somebody might say, "Think you got a drinking problem? Think you might need a little bit of help with that?"
Yeah.
That's a different scenario. But if you're using the guy every time
Yep.
to do that, then they have the right to maybe say, listen, that's the 8th time you called Dom in 8 days.
Maybe we got an issue.
Maybe what are you trying to kill with the drinking? You know what I mean? Like it's
now you're where I want to be. This is where I'm trying to get to here.
Okay.
So it's like it's just it doesn't say that in the article, but I kind of don't believe that Etienne, this is his first time. This is his virgin experience. So that means
this is the first time he got caught.
Exactly.
So that means it happened more than once. And theoretically, Dom, the fixer, wasn't there any of those times. It's like
The
they don't want
Arkansas
Dom
Dom
to be
or
there.
Alabama Dom.
Yeah.
Alabama Dom wasn't there, and you know what? And he didn't want Alabama Dom to be there. And I feel like that's the whole point of all this stuff. This is the integrity problem.
Hey, listen, you're your own man.
Know
You're
that
your
he's
own
there to help
man. That's
you,
what
but
it
you don't
comes
want him
down
there.
to. This comes back down to ego.
Yep.
So you have to let your ego. You had to put your ego in check back at the facility. Because like I said, this is your livelihood now. This is your life. Who cares? Hey, listen. Like I said, it's there's a lots of weirdo situations that could occur. Like, hey, I was with this girl and she was banging out a couple of slopes and OD'd, I got to get out of here. Those are those calls you're making too. Can't have any judgment when you're Dom. Can't be judging people.
No. You just got to show up and do your thing.
You're solving the problem.
Absolutely.
Right? You are Winston Wolf. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, and it's funny because you run into a scenario like this where it's a college kid, right? And say it derails, right? You're going to miss say you miss a season with a suspension, right? And that keeps you somehow it keeps you out of the NFL. Well, because you got a DUI, it also keeps you out of the CFL because you can't go to Canada with a felony, and DUIs are a felony. So you can't even cross the border anymore. So now arena is your best shot. So, I mean, not only does it potentially alter your path to the NFL, it limits a lot of options.
Yeah. Tons and tons of options.
Well, thanks for coming to our TED Talk about drinking problems. We're at the halfway point, so let's get our station recognition going and see you in a few minutes.
This is Reggie Jones, owner and founder of Air Sports Academy. Air is based on the 4 core principles: heart, education, integrity, resiliency. Air is about developing student athletes physically and mentally through training, mentorship, and effective marketing. We've created a platform and a blueprint for our state to shine in the brightest of lights. I created this program because it was a need for our state. We needed to have the light shine on the student athletes in our region, and now that is happening at an all-time and undeniable rate. We created a lane for the kids in our state to get their college education paid for and set their families up for future success. We created an environment where serious athletes can now come compete fearlessly. We've achieved this through our variety of elite programs. Our 6-month off-season program, where first-year starters or seasoned vets can all come develop. Our 5-on-5 program, which is all about our line. Our youth tackle program, which is the first and only youth tackle team from the state of Washington to ever win a major national championship. Our 7-on-7 program, which is ranked top 10 in the country every year. Our high school 11-on-11 club tackle program, which creates a unique and much needed opportunity for our kids. our college prep program, which allows our graduates to come back from college and prepare for the upcoming season. Our track and field program, which creates an opportunity for our young air boys and air girls to continue to get bounced. When you're a national program, you receive national respect, which is why when you look at recruiting boards and top player lists from around the country, you'll always find players from air on those lists. Which is why college coaches from some of the most prestigious schools around the country come into our facility to recruit our players. The Penn State, Alabama, Oregon, Stanford, Florida State, the list goes on. Our players are being recruited, offered, and committing to some of the top schools in the nation. The experience our players and families receive is second to none. We offer a competitive brand of sports at Air. We are the ball. And with that comes great responsibility. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. This is Air.
All right. So to kick off this second hour, I want to, talk a little bit about the hip drop, just because I do have a clip here.
I don't get what we're doing here. This is football, and like him, I'm a 5'7" wide receiver. Trust me, I could put a highlight tape that rivals anybody in NFL history on the wrong side of big-time hits. But the reality is you were putting the defense at an increased disadvantage in the game of football, because if they run by you, you might as well stop trying, because now you're starting to think about how you need to get them down. And to RG3's point, it does create indecision. And that indecision is inherently more dangerous if everybody else is operating at a full speed juncture. Shannon, the reason why you probably didn't see this in your day is because they were clotheslining people. They were hitting them for real. And it wasn't going to be on top of those highlights. They was doing the real tackles, right? But this is just a fundamental tackle. You have to use your body weight to get people down. My question becomes, what's next? Is it now you can't tackle at the knees? Now you can't tackle at all from behind? Now you can't cut block? And yes, these are things that create injury. We have to, at some point, come to grips with the NFL being a 100% injury rate for players. You're going to get hurt. Anything head-related, anything that will affect your life mentally going forward, we understand. But we as all players understand there is an opportunity to go out there, and there is a chance you will be injured. Last season, lower extremity injuries were at a 4-year low. So my question is, who asked for that?
So that's what I'm thinking, right? Like, who asked for this? Like, it's such a low percentage injury play. And it's the only way you can actually tackle somebody if you're behind them. Like, if you're trailing the play, if they've beat the play, it's the only way you're going to make a play. I mean, otherwise you're just diving at the feet and hoping you smack an ankle, because you still can't go high. Now you can't go in the middle. So you're just swiping at the feet and hoping for the best? Especially if he outweighs you, right? Say you're 190, 200 pound DB and you got to take a Derrick Henry down that's broke outside, or a Saquon Barkley. That ain't happening. What, you're gonna dive at the ankles and hope for the best? Like, there's not many rules in football that's made me mad, but this one does.
Well, I agree. I mean, I think that it's going to be tough to really, like, they have to. I think it's meant for the severe situations. Like it's like when you get them, and then you're like, when it's supposed to be similar to like a horse collar. That's how I was thinking it.
Well, so the thing is the injury happens when you wrap up and then you twist to try and get around them, right? Or, to try and bring them down. So you're kind of rolling across those legs. That's where the injury happens. So, I mean, but the problem is if they've already beat the defense and you're coming from the side, there's not another way to tackle that guy. That is the correct tackle. So then that's where, in that clip, he's like, I guess you just let him go.
Or just grab him and hope somebody gets him from the front? Is that what you're trying to do? You're just trying to slow him down at this point?
I guess. right? I mean, like, there's not a good answer. And of course, we're going to see some ugly football in preseason because this is going to be a point of emphasis. There's going to throw a ton of flags on this, and it's going to be with a bunch of guys that are probably not going to make the league. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity to throw this flag.
Like I said, who asked for this? It did. I know it wasn't the players.
No,
because they learned since they were little kids, probably 5 years old, how to tackle. Now they're in their 30s. You think they don't want to do that anymore? They've been doing it for over 2 decades and a half. You think they want to do that anymore? Somebody else.
Hey, listen, not for nothing. Even these guys that have been playing this game for 20 some years and stuff like that still don't know how to tackle.
I'm with you.
True.
I'm with you, but
they don't know how to tackle. They also don't want to get hurt. But at the same time, they understand it's football.
The blueprint is right there, though. It's fundamentally right there. It's like the person who came up with this idea, guaranteed they're not on the field playing and probably never have.
Yeah.
Right.
And they sit here deciding this. I mean, we were talking about it earlier this morning. This is the most obscure injury type situation that there probably is out there. We narrowed it down to it being about half of a percentage point of all of the tackles in the entire past 2 seasons, 2022 and 2023.
And it was
so
a
0.5% of the injuries that happened from this tackle.
Yeah.
Or this type of tackling technique.
There were 25 injuries last year from this tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the tackles. I mean, now I don't know how many tackles there were that
it was. I think you said it was like 20,000.
They reviewed 20,000 and they got 105 out of it that were tackle of the hip drop variety, but that's a percentage point, a half of it.
Well, no, so see now that's where there was 105 tackles and 25 of them were injuries. That's what they're seeing.
So and I've heard different numbers because I heard 15 injuries where they missed time.
That could very well be too.
It's obscure. Is the bottom line.
At that point, is what 10% of a 0.5%.
It's obscure.
I mean,
it's
that is such a tiny number.
If they legislate this play out of the game so quickly, as a matter of fact, probably in record time, they decided this. If it's something this small, imagine what else they may do to quote unquote legislate the game. I mean, we're gonna be out here having pillow fights in a minute. It's like this is not. Is it gonna be the PFL? Is that what we're doing? The pillow fight league? Is that what we're gonna have? That we coming to here? This is not good.
So
I want to go up against. I want to go up against the Double D ladies.
Yeah,
if they can't tackle. They're gonna be tentative, and they're gonna get hurt. That's when guys get hurt when they're tentative and they're not sure.
Absolutely.
They're gonna get hurt out here more than the whole hip drop tackling situation. This is ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. See, the NFL thinks that the fan is stupid. I really believe that. They think we're dumb. They think we're a bunch of puppets, and then they just throw us a cracker, and we'll just clap and say, "Oh, thank you, give me some more." That's what they think about it.
I mean, the thing is this is one that potentially could hurt viewership. So that'll really determine whether or not this rule stays. If it hurts viewership at all, or if there's enough complaining about it, right? Because you're going to see scoring go up. Like scoring's definitely going to go up, which the NFL likes. But if the fans don't like how it goes up, then it hurts the brand a little bit.
The NBA had the same complaint. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. Had the same complaint about scoring. Well, the NBA tried to appease the fans by increasing the scoring. They brought the 3-point line in, thinking it'd be better. Guess what didn't happen? The numbers weren't really better. Yep. People were still complaining about the game because it was all this. They were getting called for hand fighting. Guys couldn't elbow each other like how they did back in the days of Vinnie Johnson and Bill Laimbeer and whatnot. They couldn't do all that stuff. And guys were falling down, flopping. It didn't change anything. This isn't going to be any different. If the scoring's increasing, which is probably going to happen now because guys aren't going to be able to tackle effectively. Guys like a Derrick Henry or Saquon, scoring's going to go up, but people ain't going to be happy. Not no diehard fans. they're gonna hate this. They already do.
Especially if you see someone actively peel off of of chasing someone down, right? Like if you see them just be like, like that's where you're going to see people really get up in arms about it. If especially if they happen to levy fines if you do this particular tackle, right? So if you not only get the whatever they end up calling this, right? Personal foul, I would imagine. But if there's a fine involved with this personal foul as well, then you are going to get people making that business decision, because not only, if it was only the personal foul, you'd be like, you know what, I'm going to go make that play anyway because it's better than a score. But if it's going to cost me 20 to 50 grand, yeah, I'm probably letting that guy roll in, right? So if you see a guy peel off because he doesn't have a line and he doesn't have an effective way to tackle anymore, then you'll get fans real mad, and it'll be in real time. Like you'll hear stadiums booing the first time you see a player peel off of a guy that's running free.
Oh, they're gonna boo.
Oh yeah.
There's no question.
And not the we're making fun of Roger Goodell, let's boo. Like that'll be some real boos.
They might start throwing batteries again, like back in the day.
I mean, I don't know if they'd be throwing batteries.
Where did batteries come from? I was trying to figure out, you brought the batteries with you? I didn't understand. Yeah, that was weird. But yeah, this is not good, man.
Yep.
I don't even know what the game's going to be in the next 5 or 10 years.
Bubble wrap uniforms.
I mean, what's the name of that so-called sport that had the guys in the big fluffy outfits and they bumping each other and fall down?
Oh, the big inflatable balls?
Yeah. Kind
No,
of
the inflatable sumo wrestlers. That's what I'm assuming, right? Is sumo wrestling?
Oh, I was thinking the soccer with the
they got big costumes on from the neck down. It's like almost like it's inflatable for sure. And they're bumping each
a
other.
sumo wrestler.
Oh, that's got to be the sumo. Yeah.
Is that where we're going? Is that what's next?
That would be hilarious. Like I'd probably still watch that.
Hilarious. You're gonna watch that, man? You're not gonna watch. You know what you're gonna do? You can go find something to work on.
No. Like I'd probably watch the first game of that because I think it'd be funny, and then after that,
Stop messing with our beloved sport. Leave it alone. It's frustrating, bro.
Yep.
It's funny. I'm sitting here and I'm reading something talking about the violent ending of a game in 1970. Guess who between the Eagles and the Giants on Monday Night Football, November 23rd, 1970. Both teams bench clearing brawl on the field.
I was only a month old. I have no idea about any of that.
I was still 2 years before my time.
Yeah. So that's not the basis for this rule, right? Is that why you brought that up?
And you said you were a month old. Your birthday's in October?
Mm-hmm.
October what?
18. Go my social as well?
No, I'm actually, mine's the 20th.
Name, whatever.
18.
Mine's the 20th.
Okay. Double birthday bash, baby. Let's do it.
There you go. Exactly. We're Libras.
Yeah, man. I'm concerned about football, period. Even on the college side, we've been talking about it a lot over the past year at least. It's changing so much. I don't even know. Don't take my sport away, please.
Yeah, I mean,
it's all we have.
and that's why I think they don't.
Concerned.
This particular rule doesn't last.
You said that earlier, but I'm like, but how do you know it's not going to?
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't know because if I knew, they just wouldn't roll it out at all.
I mean, stupid's been going on in the NFL for a long time now. Stupid is lasting.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is this doesn't contribute to head injuries. So, it's not the biggest point of emphasis that they're trying to fix. And what it potentially does is make elements of the game look like players aren't trying.
You know something? This is gonna mess stuff up, and I'm not doing it on purpose, but it popped in my head. And when it goes inside there, only bad things can result. But Just think about what we've been hearing about. What was the argument that we heard leading into the Super Bowl? What were people talking about the most leading into and after the game happened? We were hearing about the NFL being rigged, right?
Yeah, scripted. Yep.
That's all we heard about.
Yep.
If I'm not I ain't a gambler. I don't even play the lotto anymore. I'm done with all that stuff. I don't play fantasy football paid anymore. I was doing it for 15 years for free. Never paid a dime. Think about the guys that are into this, like seriously, like big money in games and whatnot. This is golden for them. Nobody's ever going to say, you know what? He didn't try hard. He can't try now because he can't tackle anybody. Man, these guys are getting ready to get paid. You're talking about NFL being rigged. If there's ever a time for it, with this rule sticking, perfect time.
I mean,
the guy didn't try to tackle. He did his best.
Based on that logic, you take the over in every single game this year. You take the early bets before the season starts, and you just take the over on everything.
I mean, wouldn't you?
I mean, yeah. I mean, makes
I
sense.
would. I mean, this is tailor made for that. This is tailor made for that now, because now it's like it's gonna be hard to question. You know what? This is the reason. You want to agree, Philly?
I just say, yeah, we're speculating.
No, of course.
Yeah, like that's kind of the thing. Like I feel like that there's going to be some super egregious ones. You know what I mean? That they're going to call, and I think that that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to limit. They don't want it to turn to, touch football either.
Yeah,
because they understand the reason why that people watch this game is because it's somewhat violent.
Mm-hmm.
And you could take a page from the hockey playbook. The moment they got rid of fighting, there was a viewership drop.
Yep.
And it's not really recovered since then. So I look at this as that they put something on the books to be able to
modify it,
cover something that could possibly be egregious.
Yep.
And when it falls into that egregious category, they're going to call it. But like, for instance, in baseball now, you're not allowed to block the bag at all if somebody's stealing at all. You're supposed to stand. You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the case now. So I feel like this is the same way. It's not going to be, oh, you had a little bit of your foot blocking the bag, that guy's safe now. You know what I mean? They're not going to do it that way. And I think at least I hope so. I mean, they could do it. They could do it that way, and it could be a super, cluster.
Yeah, I'm going with that last part for the preseason. I'm going to go with they're going to call a lot of things that are questionable, because they always do when they roll a new rule out, right? So I'm like, there's going to be an evolution to this rule if it stays, for sure, right? Because otherwise it potentially ruins defenses. But yeah, it's I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So I guess I do have this question for you before I have Chris's question pop up. What do you guys think of Purdy potentially getting $40+ million a year?
Do it. Sign him. $100 billion. 20 years.
20 years.
20 years, $280 million. Send it. Actually, that's not even enough. Yeah,
that is not enough. But
he would need 400 and
that was
560.
That was some of that Common Core math, I think.
Yeah,
the new math.
Wow. No, I
they
saw
give
that,
money.
and I was just like, oh man, I hope they do. I hope they I hope they torch their cap space. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
That's going to be great for the Hawks for sure.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
It's
I'm
gonna be
saying.
great
Burn
for
that
the
thing to the
Hawks.
ground.
And
Let's
the
go.
crazy part is it's going to happen.
Probably. Yeah.
So
He's done enough.
So here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I think about this. So Brady would sign a contract for all that ridiculous money,
Sure.
and then they would change the contract.
Yes.
You know, he'd always take a new deal, take a new deal, take a new deal, take a new deal, right? And ultimately, he didn't always. The money went somewhere, right? Or did he just dismiss the money?
He did dismiss a lot of money because he wanted rings. He wanted to win, which, you know, he at the time he's married to a supermodel that out earned him 2-1. So it's not like he had to be the top paid guy, because he was only the top paid guy one time in his career. So
And that was in Tampa.
Was he the top paid guy there?
Yeah, I think he was.
Oh, I was going to say, because I thought it was his first actual contract in with the Patriots, that he was the top paid guy. And at that point, he'd already won, 3 Super Bowls, right? So, but then he
You think he's still getting palimony?
Hope so, you know. Good on him. So yeah, no, it's but after that he was always taking discounts because he wanted to win, right? And I don't know. I don't know that anybody else is doing that. You might see Pat Mahomes do it, but outside of that,
well, I believe that
Mahomes ain't giving no money up.
no, he has though. He has
For
restructured,
good, or he had it deferred.
No. He's restructured his deal a couple of times already. So
yeah, because State Farm pays his salary right now.
Exactly. All of a sudden, you start amassing rings, you get your money other places.
Yeah, State Farm, Subway, and
Exactly.
you know, all those other things. So he doesn't need the money from that. The Royals, you know, Kansas City, football club.
Yep.
So I mean, he's got other revenues. You know, his brother's TikTok.
Oh, for crying out loud!
Or maybe the wife's TikTok. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, brother. Yeah.
But ultimately, I mean, so that's where the money comes from. Do I see Purdy getting that type of money? Yes.
Yeah.
I could see him. He is like, I mean, he looks like he's 12. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
he's going to be able to.
Well, and he's played well within the system, right?
Yeah, but and it's a matter of that. It's a matter of, yeah, sign me for a lot of money, get me the endorsements. I will always fluctuate.
Yep. Rework that contract moving forward.
Right.
Yeah. Or they trade him to the Bears for Caleb. I don't see the Bears doing that. It'd be hilarious, but I don't see them doing that.
You talking about
That
Purdy?
would be funny.
That would be hilarious. I'd be about it. I would laugh a lot.
Oh Lord.
But, okay, so Chris did have a question for you, Mr. U, on the Ohtani situation.
Oh my God. Well, forgive me if it sounds clunky. I'm pretty sure it will. This is one of those stories that, even though baseball is my first love, this is one of those stories I'm kind of like, I'm not really fully invested in it just yet. But it has a lot of tentacles to it. It strikes me as weird that you got this guy in your life that you trust a lot, apparently. From what I understand from some of the stories I read, these guys went everywhere together. I mean, everywhere but the John together.
Right? And even then, I don't know.
Well, I ain't judging. Hey, you do what you want to do, all right? But you do what you want to do. But I mean, they had that kind of closeness. It's kind of hard to believe that. I mean, if you ever had a close friend before, I'm talking about like a tight ride or die best friend. When something's shifted, you kind of got at least a sense that something's not right. They're different. They're doing different things habit wise. You're around each other all the time. All of a sudden, now that they're taking time to go and make this run, things change in the patterns and stuff. So it's kind of weird that Ohtani didn't see that. If he didn't address it in any way.
There's no way he's not involved in this.
That's why I'm just listening. I'm like,
it's really hard to believe that he's not.
Exactly.
I'm not saying he is or isn't. I'm just saying it's really hard to believe that he's not.
Yep.
Then you got the cover of the language barrier. Asking some questions. You're like, speaking no English. He got a chance to kind of bow out of stuff. I mean,
I don't know that was a really good Japanese accent there.
I got it from a Japanese guy. I got it
no
from a
English.
Japanese guy, so I thought it was pretty legit. Okay, but on top of
there's
that,
always a moment in every show where they're trying to cancel us. That's.
I'm sorry, I don't want to miss you guys' show, man. My bad.
It's fine. We got the Hater Show coming up on next Monday, April 1st. Come in, tell us how much you hate our show and all the dumb stuff we say.
Sounds great, man. But nobody really knows. I mean, because of his personality and his refusal to let people into his life, people don't really know him as a person. You hear that in several reports as well. So it's like you got all that going on. People asking his teammates questions, and he had been cool with his teammate for a minute. Once he got his money, he stopped being cool with him. So there's a lot going on in this. But like you guys said, there's no way you don't know something about this. There's no way you're not in some way involved. I ain't saying you're pushing the best yourself. I'm not saying that, but you involved in this in some kind of way. It's your money, dude. You trust all these $1 million to somebody else, so you don't. I don't know about.
And he understands and speaks English just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just fine.
Speaking no English.
It's funny because it's like, okay, well, you can't have it both ways, right? Because you had Harbaugh that they had sign stealing and they were going to suspend. No, calm down. So they were going to suspend him anyway, even though he didn't know, right? Because they're like, oh, he had to know. And in this scenario, now there's like somehow you guys are together all the time, but you didn't know. Like, what? Really? That's what we're doing? That's the angle we're taking? Like that? Come on. You just spent the last 6 months telling us that something where the guys weren't even in the same state he knew. And you're telling me his guy that he's with 24/7, somehow he didn't?
It's hard to believe.
Like, there's some math that ain't math in here.
I know that's right. It's hard to buy. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
If you ask me right now, I'm gonna say, yeah, you in this to some kind of degree. You're complicit somehow. I can't tell you what degree because we ain't there, but you're in this. You're associated with it.
I don't think associated. I think that it's him.
Yeah, directly. This is his fall guy.
Okay. There's movies about stuff like this out there. There's movies about this kind of stuff.
No doubt. And in this case, Rob, interpreter's going to take the fall. This sure feels like they're going to not do much to Ohtani. The initial steps, unless there's something that is obviously damning, MLB sure looks like they're going to let this interpreter take the brunt of this. And then Ohtani is just going to have a guy on his payroll forever for taking the fall.
This is like
and speaking in his own press conferences.
Yes. Well, no, because he had a different interpreter the other day.
Well, he used Yakamoto's, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Wow, that's not right.
Tell me about it. But
at some point down the line, probably if it gets that far, we're talking about him. Should he be in the hall or not? Because he's associated with this kind of drama. Should he be able to get into the hall? I mean, I know people are like, man, I should have got me an interpreter.
But that's what he said. Which
if I had an interpreter, I would have been off scot-free. I'm like, you asshole. You could have said so many different things.
It was such a douche thing to say, which makes total sense because it's Pete.
Right.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Yep.
Good for him. You know what I mean? That's
Hope I answered the question, Chris. I did my best, brother. I did my best
so.
with that.
The answer is fry him.
I mean, the answer is everybody thinks there's no way you didn't know something, even if it wasn't you directly.
That's where I'm at.
But with the dollar figures we're talking about, how much is he paying his interpreter? Because what he just had to cover was $4.5 million. So who knows the bigger bets, right? Because there was the report of one that was 10 million. So
I know it's easy for us to sit here and say it now, and I recognize that. That's why I'm prefacing it by saying that. We're not sitting here on 85, 100, $200 million. We may not have that on us right now.
Well, I bet the interpreter doesn't either, is the thing.
Huh?
I said, I bet the interpreter doesn't either, though.
No,
right?
I know.
If he's the guy making the bets, it's how much he has, not Ohtani.
You got to have some kind of oversight. You got to care to watch. I mean, you hear about people getting the money taken all the time, Ponzi schemes and all kinds of.
Sure.
At some place where you're monitoring your money, you can't really trust that to one person because look how that's going historically. So you tell me that
dollar, when you're talking $4 million, he's going to have to sign off on that leaving his account, even if he has a co-signer.
I would think that's how you would set that up. You know, whatever's going out, I need to know about it when it's going out and why it's going out. If that's not happening, that's a whole different level that I don't so way over my head because I don't see any way we can get around that part.
I'm sure he knew his interpreter didn't go to that college. Or like we talked about, on Tuesday or Monday, I guess, maybe he did. He just wasn't actually enrolled. Who knows, right? Because it's a public college. You could go.
Right.
You can sit in that auditorium.
Community.
In most cases, you don't even need to sit in the auditorium. You can get it virtual.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
yeah, I think Ohtani's, yeah.
So sticking with baseball, there, Yankee guy. How many games do you think your Yankees are going to win this year?
Well, right now our ace is down for. They said, I forgot how many weeks they said, but either
3 months.
6 to 8 weeks, pal. All right, that's what I heard. I'm sticking with that.
I heard longer term than that, but
I don't want to hear that. Okay. So 6 to 8 weeks. We're not getting Snell. He's already gone.
Yep.
My hope was getting Monty back in. He signed a 1 year with the D-backs. A D-bag move, in my opinion. But so I am hovering around 90 games. I can't do much better than that right now. So I'm thinking about 90, 95 games. I think we got to potentially be better than that. I like some of the guys that we brought in. Like they're young arms. They haven't. They don't have a lot of experience, but I like them. I like what they got going on stuff wise. Spencer Jones, some other guys coming in. I like what they got going on. So right now, a day from opening day, I'm gonna stay around 90, 95. I can't go any higher than that right now. But at the change, as we move into the season a little bit, maybe I can change my prediction. But I'm thinking 95 is the cap for us right now. I hope we can do better than that. I think when we first started, before all the injuries started, I was thinking we're going to be about 100, 105 in the win column. I thought that legitimately, but
so
not sure now.
So you think you are a wild card team then? 90 wins?
I can see that.
Yeah. All right.
I think the Orioles probably going to win the division.
Yeah, well, that's what I was figuring.
That's what I got.
Yep.
Do you think they re-sign Soto?
I feel like they have to, man.
No, they don't have to do anything.
I think they really do have to, for a lot of reasons. Well, I like that Stanton's come to the camp in shape. That's great. I feel good about that. I like to see him move around on the bases a lot better than he was. Looked like a big tub of lard before, but he's looking pretty good now. Judge does have.
You said Stanton, right? That's what you just said.
I did say Stanton, yes, sir, Giancarlo.
Okay.
I like Judge, but I know that he's going to take some time off, whether it be for rest or whether it be for injuries. We got to have a bat inside there to kind of counteract those two inevitables. And Soto is kind of the guy that He seems to want to be there. Forget all of the Mets rumors. I ain't listening to that crap. I think we can have a front seat to get him back in the building again after the season's over with a new deal. I think it'd be good for us going forward because we can't keep bouncing guys around and not having the consistency, especially with the bats. Because we need last year that was one of the two things I saw that was really I thought was our undoing. The back end of the roster was the other one. Our 4 and 5 guys, I'm like, oh my god. Watching them go out there, I mean, I like Smith, but I really would love for him to be at the 4. That tells me, I feel like I'm not wanted here right now. But okay.
No, this is Rob's a Mariners fan. He's just trolling at this point.
Yeah, he can't really believe what he's saying, but
not at all. There we go.
Wow,
it's exactly that.
Rob already has a puff already, apparently. So he can puff past
There's
you.
been no passing. It's just puff, and I'm keeping it.
Puff, 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 puff.
The little engine that could, yeah.
Puff the Magic Dragon is what he's
100%,
doing.
yes.
Yeah,
No, I hope the Mariners do something, but man, this is everything they've done in this offseason doesn't make me feel good about it.
They have not recovered from that 18-inning game.
Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter. That's that 18-inning game where they just I was like, no, you don't pull them, and they pulled them, and
yep.
Yeah, that pitcher, that one pitcher was like, I'm like, no, that's a mistake.
Yep.
And that was it.
Well, especially because it was good pitching up to that point. I mean, that's how you get into those extra innings. So, yeah, no, it was disappointing as a Mariners fan to watch that. Because even in that moment, you're like, oh, what are you doing? Like, he's pitching good. Why are we switching?
Right. And you knew whoever was going to win that game was going to win that series.
Yeah.
And likely, I mean, and I thought that was the good propulsion to be able to get to the World Series. Whoever won that game, it was the year that every game, they still have this weirdo rule in the 10th inning. We're going to put a man on second.
I hate that. I hate that.
And then
is the dumbest rule.
That was the first postseason game, or the first extra inning game in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
And it went 18 innings.
Yeah.
Like, I loved games like that. Those are those are amazing games. And you know what? Everybody stayed to watch it.
Of course. It's exciting.
So having an 18-inning game in the third week of the season is not fun to watch.
No, because that game ultimately isn't going to matter. But yeah, if it's postseason play, yeah, that's an exciting game.
I agree. And the fact that, like I said, it was fun to watch. I knew that it was over the moment they pulled him. I was like, that's a bummer. That's such a shame. But
Rob is a Jersey kid, so.
Oh, no wonder you've got bad taste all the way across the board. I understand now, Robert. It makes more sense to me.
I've known Rob for a long time, and the best is if he starts getting spun up, because some of that, that Jersey accent will come out when he's mad, and it is hilarious. Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. That's the best.
He's saying now that he was a Giants and Yankees fan. He was probably Jets and Mets. I could tell. He seems like a Jets Mets guy.
I don't even know what that means. What's a Jets and Mets guy? Just for clarification.
A Jets
I've
Mets
met
guy?
him, lived around them, but help me understand your viewpoint on this. What's a Jets and Mets guy?
Well, usually Giants fans are Yankees fans. And Jets fans are Mets fans.
I understand that.
Don't know why that is. I don't know what is the line of delineation on that says, okay.
Long Island.
Yeah, but
That's
so yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you pay attention to hockey. I assume you would be a Rangers fan, right?
sure.
So there, it's like you're
I
not
feel like
Jets,
I feel
Mets,
like it's
not
Long
Jets,
Island and
Mets,
that.
Islanders.
I feel like it's Long Island and that border. Everything on the other side of it is Jets, Mets, and Islanders. I don't really know how they figured that one out and decided to carry those flags, but that's what's happening there. On the other side is Giants, Yankees, and Rangers and Knicks.
Yeah, but I
don't-
very rarely hear about a Jets Yankees fan
I met a
or
few. I've
a,
listened to wearing
a
burner accounts, but
Giants Mets fan. I mean, I got to imagine there is some. And when in a city of 8 million people, there's going to be a couple of those people that
I met some, about three of
are
them.
About 3 of them.
I made sure they wearing burner accounts, but I think I met a few of them. They were actually
Yeah,
Jets and Yankees. I'm like,
see, and the one thing you could be 100% certain of is that the Mets are going to Mets it up.
Of course.
They are very good about Metsing it up. They
what
Mets
they
it
do,
up.
baby. It's what they do.
So the Yankees choke. They're big chokers now.
Stop it.
I know
Yeah,
that you
no,
can go back. You
that's
can
not
go back
accurate.
to the
The
80s and the
Mets,
90s,
Mets.
and
If you're going between the two of those, the Mets or the chokers, it's not the Yankees, man. Choking is not our problem.
so since 2009, and I know it was in 2009 because you guys beat us because we were going back to back there, and that was when A-Rod was on his second cycle for that season. We won't talk about that though. And Roger Clemens was also in that team, was he not? In 2009?
Go ahead and make your point, brother.
Yeah, sure. But anyways, since then, since they really stopped doing the cream and the clear, there was a.
See,
See, I remember all that
here we
too.
go. Here we go.
Once they stopped doing that, they really stopped winning games.
That's absolute utter nonsense.
I think you were saying it wrong. You'd be like, here we go.
That's a Dak. There you go. He's dacking it up.
Wow.
Here we go.
Nobody in Philly was rubbing on no ointment, huh? Okay. All right.
So, but yeah, like I said, that's that's all right. You guys won that series, and we didn't make it back. That team underachieved then in the playoffs the next couple of years after that. So they didn't make it back. But you guys didn't do anything either. I think Jeter won what, like 2 or 3 World Series.
Jeter?
Yeah.
Should have been 3.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But it was only 2, right?
And
You got the name Mr. November from diving into the.
Why are you doing this, man? As a Philly fan, you shouldn't even be breaching this topic.
What are you talking about?
You know how many guys on the Phillies, man, were doing the same thing in the same year you were talking about? 2009?
None of the
J.C.
Phillies.
Romero, I mean, Galvis, the list goes, Carlos Ruiz. These guys have been doing the same thing. Talk about cream in the clear. They had their ointments out too, man.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
Ruiz was on Adderall.
They all had performance enhancing drugs. Check it out.
J.C. Romero.
What's your number? Don't go there, man. Come on. Philly's name is in this all the time. Bastardo, remember him? Bastardo? Come on, man. Stop.
Yeah, Bastardo was recent.
2013. It don't matter when it was.
In 2013, we weren't winning anything.
It happened like 5 times since 2009. Come on, man. They got a history of this stuff. It was pervasive throughout the Major League Baseball, especially.
Hold on. Wow,
In the
Philly,
city
a
of
fly-by
Beverly Hills.
relevant team talking trash on a Giant. Are you really saying that, Robert? Robert, I know that you are really smoking a lot of the garbage today. But listen, I have seen more wins as an Eagles fan against the Giants than the Giants have wins against everybody else. There's a reason why there's a Miracle of the Meadowlands 1, a Miracle of the Meadowlands 2, a Miracle of the Meadowlands 3.
You know, 3. You just add stuff on now.
No. See,
It was
see,
like,
what you're wrong about is that there was the Miracle of the Meadowlands 2 was not Deshaun Jackson. The Miracle of the Meadowlands 2 was Brian Westbrook, but there was a minute left in the game where the Giants just straight out pooped the bed. They had the Heine hole pucker, and they squeezed
The
and
what?
they didn't do nothing. The Heine hole pucker.
this is ridiculous.
Asshole pucker is what I could say. That sounds better for you?
It's
You know,
not-
that,
They both horrible. We on
Yeah,
TV, right?
they puckered up.
We
And
don't
they
have the FCC rules that network TV does.
Yeah, I can tell.
Why do you think they had the two of us on a show together? There was no chance.
I got the symbolism pretty early on. But,
Yeah.
okay, man. So
They
you
got-
done, man? You done talking about how great the Eagles are? You done?
Hey, listen, you're going to find out again this year when we win the last game of the NFL season.
If that's the goal, then hey, you guys are aiming high. It's great. I thought Super Bowls were the goal.
That's
How
what it
that-
is.
how
The
is- how
last
is that
game
good?
of the NFL season is the Super Bowl. They don't have a Pro
No,
Bowl
it's-
afterwards
well,
anymore.
It is if you're underachieving.
The last game of the NFL season
Is the
is
Super
the
Bowl.
Super Bowl. Yes, it is.
When's the last time the
Every
Eagles-
time.
How many times have the
Every
Eagles been in
time. They don't do the Pro
many
Bowl
times
after
have
the
they
Super
been
Bowl
in that?
anymore. How many
there?
times have they been in that? Two in the last 5 years, 6 years. 2 times in the last 6 years.
Okay. And then how about before that?
I went to a
Well,
couple.
2004.
Okay.
And listen, that's all right. Hey, listen, you
I'm
can
just
talk
saying,
about
man,
all you want. You can live in the past like a Cowboys fan. That's okay. You can do that.
In 2009,
You're good at
just
that.
now.
You-
Isn't that
you-
is that in the past? We're
Say
in
again?
2024, yeah? That was 15 years ago. You're talking about 2009. That's in the past,
Well, that
right?
was the Yankees. Giants
It's
didn't
in
do
the
anything in
past or not?
2009.
It's in the past. You started this train rolling in the past.
Hey, listen,
Revisionist
I'm
history.
just
I'm not
talking
doing
about.
that.
I'm
I'm
just
just-
talking about how bad your team is now.
Oh man.
This is the fun part when I get in. See, now if Sneaky was here, Sneaky would talk about how you guys have 8 championships.
I mean, he's not wrong.
I know he's not wrong. Yeah, but he wasn't alive in 1938 either.
Fair.
So, but he still talks about how they have 8 championships. So, and that the Eagles at that case have 4 championships.
Oh, great. Let's just stay in the NFL era then, since we went around for 1938. Let's just stay in the era. Who has that?
Yeah. So since the Super Bowl era, what's your record against the Eagles?
No. I was just asking a question about the Eagles and the Giants. I'm sorry. I didn't
Hey,
mean to
listen,
distract.
I don't care about that. And listen, I
You don't
care
care
about
about that?
beating the
Oh,
team
I
in front of
do.
me when
What's the
I
number,
am
sir?
when I am beating the Giants.
all things being equal, right? Like if I was going to have a losing record, but the winning part of the record comes with a championship, like I'm not mad at that.
Well, I know since you're not used to seeing championships very often.
We've been in a few of them.
But
Oh wow.
I
anyways,
feel like we have the same amount of Super Bowls.
it was not 42-0 on Monday Night Football. It was a 40-8 game. I was at that game. Don't tell me about what you think you know there, Robert. I know. I forgot more about football than you think you even know. So don't worry about it. It was 40-8. It snowed that day, and also my truck got broken into. So don't tell me. I know. I hated that day, and I stayed for the entire game. The entire game. That offense scored had 80 yards of offense, 86 yards of offense. Was done by Seattle, and you guys scored 40. You guys won 40-8 because our offense just kept giving you guys the ball. I think you guys scored 2 or 3 defensive touchdowns that day.
I was going to say you don't really have to put up a lot of yards if the offense doesn't have to touch the ball.
But it was like 86 yards of offense. Like literally, it was the most lopsided score for as bad as that. As you guys played that day. I know. So I remember there. I remember 42-0. You don't remember squat.
Oh my goodness. The veins shooting through your head. You
I
okay,
mean,
buddy?
one of
You
those
gonna pass
against the
out, are you?
Cardinals. We had one of those against the Cardinals.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It was that was actually a pretty fun game. Not so much because of the game, but went into that game, and I was sitting. I always like to sit in the stadium in around visitors, right? Because I want to chirp during the game because it's fun. And so before the game, we're going at it back and forth with a Cardinals fan, and then it ended up being this absolute rout. And it was like the end of the first quarter, and I sent them some beers. I was just like, "Sorry guys, like this isn't even fun anymore. Like I'm not going to sit here and bag on you for another 45 minutes. Like this game is over." And then, but I've been on both sides of that because I did that at a Saints game that they started the season 0-4. And I'm like, oh, you guys are about to be 0-5, and they kicked our ass, like, and it wasn't close, and it wasn't close right away. So it was just like, well, all right, maybe I was wrong. But that does bring us to the end of the show. Mr. You, let everybody know where they can find your content.
Well, we are on all the socials and our YouTube channel at They Call Me Mr. U.
Yep. Thanks again for coming on. And what is it you got going on tomorrow there, Pegs?
It's opening day. Hopefully, we will know by around 6 o'clock whether
Still
we're
got a
going
lot
to
of
have
rain?
opening day here. Yeah, they're talking about it being a pretty ugly day here. So that we think we're going to know somewhere around 6 or 7 o'clock today whether we're going to have opening day here or not. Either way, 6 a.m. Look for me on NBC, and they're going to be interviewing me in all my splendor, whether we are having opening day tomorrow or not.
Awesome.
Yep. Awesome. And then if you do get to go, obviously pop in from around the ballpark. That'll be fun. And other than that, we'll let everybody get back to their day. If you missed part of the show and you wanted to catch it, you can see it at 4 a.m. on the Roku channel where it is rebroadcast. Other than that, we will see you tomorrow morning.